So how do I start reading my Bible? This may sound like a pretty basic question, especially if you call yourself a Christian. But for many, many people, the answer is not so simple. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's even many Christians who don't know how to answer that question or where to begin when they want to start reading their Bible. But that is okay. We are here to help. We want to help you here. Today I want to give you one method to start reading your Bible. There are plenty of different ways, different methods that you can use, but this is just one of my personal favorites for reading the Bible. And the best part about this method is that it is super easy. It is super easy to remember. It is repeatable. You can do it over and over and over again. You can do this in a group, or you can do this by yourself. And this method of reading your Bible is called the Swedish Method. The Swedish Method. It's named that way because a woman named Ada Loom first encountered this approach while she was observing a group of Swedish students studying the Bible together. But the Swedish Method is super easy to remember and super easy to use, especially because there are some images that will help guide you through as you read. And in case you lose track of what I say today, I'm also going to provide a link in the description where you can read more about this method. But there are 5 basic components to the Swedish Method. And each one of these has an image associated with them. First, we have the light bulb. And the light bulb is something that shines. This is something that sticks out to you in the passage. It could be a word. It could be an idea or an image in the passage. It could be something that you may have forgotten about God or Jesus. But this passage reminds you of that again. But whatever it is, that light bulb is something that sticks out to you. Second, we have a question mark. The question mark, of course, represents a question or questions. As you read this passage, what questions do you have? Is there a word, a verse, or an idea that is hard for you to understand? You may wonder, for example, how a particular verse fits in with the rest of the Bible's message. So as you're reading, you can ask yourself, what questions do you have? The third on this list is the cross. And this, of course, is where Jesus fits into the passage. This image is not original, by the way. It's not original to the Swedish Method, but it's super useful nonetheless. But this is, where do you see Jesus in the passage? What did this passage say about Jesus? Fourth, we have an arrow. This arrow represents application. What can you identify in this passage that you can apply to your life? This can be one of the more challenging parts, for sure. This can be one of the more challenging parts to this method. But it's always worth asking, what application can I get from this passage? And lastly, the fifth element is a speech bubble. A speech bubble. And this is if you had to tell someone about this passage, what would you tell them about? What would you say it was about? What would you tell someone that would benefit them? What would you share with your spouse or with a child or with a friend? But that's it. That is the Swedish Method. So my recommendation is pick a book of the Bible that interests you. Perhaps start in the New Testament. The New Testament tends to be a good place to start. That's the second half of your Bible. Find a friend or someone at church, or sit down with your family, or even do this by yourself. Do it alone. But start at the beginning of whatever book you choose and read chapter by chapter. The chapters are the big numbers in your Bible. Read chapter by chapter, or you can even break it into smaller and shorter chunks than that. And then after you've read that passage, after you have read whatever section you're reading, talk about, think about, or write down the answers to those 5 things. What's my light bulb? What stuck out? What's my question mark? What questions do I have? What's my cross? Where's Jesus in this passage? How does he fit in? What is my arrow? How might I apply this to my life? And lastly, what is my speech bubble? What would I tell someone this passage is about? What would I tell someone after reading this passage? But friends, that's pretty much it. It is simple. It is repeatable. You can do it over and over and over again. No matter what passage you are reading, you can do this in a group. You can do it by yourself. But I encourage you to give it a try. It may be awkward or uncomfortable at first, but I'm confident that God will bless you as you study His Word and as He speaks to you. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.